Take a look outside. Did you know that they call Callisto the dead moon? Dead. Just like you would have been if I hadn't fished you out of that wreck.
Hey yo, super welcome to this video and thank you for clicking on it. Guys, today we are reviewing the highly anticipated the Callisto Protocol. And as I said, highly anticipated, a lot of people have high hopes for this game, but they were not met. And let me explain exactly why. Let's do this. The dreadful sound of my weapon clicking. It spells disaster. I'm all out of ammo, with no way to stop the two-headed half-man, half-mutant that pursues me. Sure, I could use my telekinesis to chuck objects, but there's nothing useful in sight. And with that, I realized the Callisto Protocol wants me to use my melee weapon. A baton that requires me to get up close and personal. As I approach, the beast immediately rips my head off, ending the battle abruptly. This happened time and time again, until finally everything went perfectly. It felt more like a fluke than a triumph, which left a really bad taste in my mouth. And what I'm trying to say here, guys, is the first time my head got ripped off, it looked and felt spectacular. But the fourth time in a row it happened, it was nothing but frustrating watching the slow animations, seeing my head getting ripped off and restart. The Callisto Protocol succeeds as a desolate and brutal survival horror experience in its opening hours, but the second half is hindered by massive difficulty spikes and clunky melee combat. The Callisto will likely hook you at first, but it fails to stick to the landing due to its excessively frustrating late-game enemies. The Callisto Protocol wears its inspirations on its sleeve. It is a spiritual successor to Dead Space, directed by the series co-creator Glenn Schofield. Callisto puts you in the shoes of Jacob Lee, a transporter who becomes an inmate at Black Iron Prison on Jupiter's moon. It is your job to uncover the dark secrets of the facility, while surviving the deadly hordes of mutated creatures known as biophages. The game offers a fairly simple story, and it has a protagonist that truly has a motive for his actions. But those motives are revealed at such a bad point in the game that the impact of it is not even close as big as it could have been. With lifelike character models, animations and memorable performances, the game really stands out. It's a true feast for the eyes. Josh Duhamel and Karen Fukuhara, who plays Jacob Lee and Danny Nakamura, create a level of realism that enhances the immersion of the experience as well. And as I always say in this channel, guys, we do love some good graphics in here, and this game gets the slim pass on that front. Lee will often react to the biophages by screaming in fear, giving his character more believability. And he is not a warrior. He's never had combat training, which really intensifies the feeling of constant danger. The areas within and beyond Black Iron Prison are packed to the brim with environmental storytelling, impacting a distinct sense of personality and history to the Callisto world. At one point, Lee must traverse the slums deep within the prison, discovering cans of food, reading material and other household items. You truly get the sense that people used to live here. However, I have to add this. There are a lot of recorded messages in this game, just like in Dead Space. However, they are so boring and non-impactful that I wish they didn't exist. It truly is a shame that the Callisto combat isn't as enjoyable or refined as its presentation. You'll be armed with a baton and ranged weapons, like assault rifles and shotguns. You also eventually unlock the GRP, aka grip, that gives you telekinetic powers, allowing you to throw enemies or objects. But too often, you're forced to use the melee weapon, which is so slow and frustrating, because it frequently results in you taking damage. The clunky melee combat doesn't pose much of an issue when you only have a couple of standard enemies to defeat. In these circumstances, battles are challenging yet actually pretty rewarding, especially since they usually result in useful rewards such as ammo, credits or health. But melee combat is downright terrible against more powerful enemies. And yeah, sure, I'm not the best one at games, but this is terrible. Striking distance truly emphasizes realistic grit and real deal peril in the Callisto Protocol, which is an intriguing premise on paper. In practice, issue this hardline commitment to realism usually gets away in the fun. The experience truly would greatly benefit from quality of life updates, such as speed up many of the animations while also tweaking health sliders to give you more of a fighting chance. So all in all, I would not recommend getting this game at full price. However, I would recommend waiting for a sale. The game is not full of bugs and it runs smooth, so hopefully developers will focus on updating the core experience with adding a more arcade style to play, but keeping the slow and frustrating realism mode for those who like that. So in other words, 2 options to play the game. However, while waiting for that sale guys, don't miss these awesome videos.